Hello, everyone. My name is Magomed. I am representative. It's working or not? I am representative of the Russian Committee of Independence. It was declared independence from Russia in 7th of January this year, and several days ago, the Russian Committee of Independence declared that they started to establish the Ingushetia army to liberate Ingushetia and to fight for freedom. Additionally, I represent here all Caucasian people, Ingushetia, Chechenian, Cherkessian, Pakistani people fighting today together with Ukrainian army, in Bakhmut, most of them in Bakhmut now. And every day you can find in different Telegram channel video when Caucasian people fighting for Ukraine together with Ukraine against common enemy of all our nation, against Russia. Actually, Russian tried to separate us. They're talking about Ukrainians, that they are cowards, that they are afraid that Russian can occupy Kyiv for 3 days. We heard all this propaganda ages. They're talking about my nation and all Caucasian nation, that we are terrorists, we are gangsters, we are doing all bad things in this world. And unfortunately, in my nation, Ukrainian nation, still people who believe on it. So people who really support Russia, they may be against Russia, but they believe all this Russian propaganda, and it means that they support them. Actually, I want to say thank you very much. I was very proud that see Ukrainian Institute of America, because for me, actually, I'm first time in my life in the United States. I was in shock that they have whole institute, Ukrainian Institute. And I have a dream that in the United States will be Institute of Caucasus, Institute of Ingushetia people, Chechenian people, because we don't want to fight. We don't want to occupy Ukraine, Belarus, or Georgia, or we don't need any land of any matter of land of our neighbors or other countries. We're really very peaceful nations. For example, in my language, not exist any proverb which declare that war is good and you have to love war. That is good to be very opposite. My language always said that war never give you son, war just take your son. And what we are doing now in Caucasus, it's a big drama for us because we fighting 100 years. Each Caucasian nation fighting 100 years. For Russia was enough 3 years to destroy Napoleon army. For 5 years they destroyed German Nazi German state, but with Caucasian nation, they fighting 100 years with Cherkessian, after 100 years with Chechenian and Dagestani. And now they collecting our kids, 18 years old, and sending them to Bakhmut to die for Russia, to occupy new territories, to create new slaves. It's a really big drama to see when both sides fighting one nation. And what we have to do when I speak here with people from Buryatia, from Yakutia, from other countries, I told them that we have to say people from Cherkessian, to say our people who fighting on Russian side that you have to boogie up. And we have to create some mechanisms what they can save life of those guys. If they boogie up, they have to have some right to have some opportunities to stay alive, don't be sent back. And I think it will be one of the best decisions when we're not killing people, when we're saving people, and we're destroying the Russian army. Because when representative of those small nations started to boogie up, a Russian army is not army of one nation. It's army of 180 nations. 180 nations. Each nation has his own language, has his own culture, traditions. and only Russian imperialism, only willing of the Russian to keep us under Russian control, as 2 days ago we discussed it in Washington, when all proposals from Russian opposition side was like this. We have to say Russia. In any case, it can be democratic, liberal, doesn't matter, just one state with you together. I said, but we don't want to be with you. Because I said it's simple that life with Russian, it's like in the United States, you're living with neighbor who is alcoholic and additionally have mental problem. And one day he coming and burning your car, you call to police and he coming with police officer staying on the knees and asking, please forgive me. I never do this again. And next day you see how he tried to burn your house. And it's always, and Russian think that they can change all the world just because they wish it. They can say, okay, God not exist. Next day, Russian authorities, for example, communists, Bolsheviks say God not exist, private not exist. After coming years and say, no, God exists, you know? And we don't know, maybe tomorrow, Russian patriarch can say that, no, God is Putin for us, you know? As they do it today. And unfortunately, what's a pity, I received today messages when I wrote that I'm in New York, I received messages, Margaret, did you met with Lavrov? Because now Russia is a household council of security. She's a leading council of security. Today morning, they destroying house in Uman, killing more than 14 people, Russian rockets. And all Russian business Telegram channels celebrating. They congratulating each other, said, oh, so good, that Ukrainian anti-aircraft system cannot catch this rocket. And Russia leading Security Council. Sorry, where are we leading? What's the world around us? How is possible? It's when I heard sometimes American or European politician, when they said we have to find common language, I have a question. Can you imagine that Roosevelt or Churchill said we have to find common language? With guy creating a concentration camp, if you want to see concentration camp, welcome to Chechnya. It's already done. It's a concentration camp with massive killing, massacres, and with North Korea elements. When everywhere have to be 5, 6 portraits in each house, in each street, in each building, portrait of Kadyrov and portrait of Putin. 4 of them. And nobody helped them. Nobody saved them. Nobody said to Lavrov, what are you doing? How is possible that Russia leading Security Council of United Nations? I cannot imagine. And world keeps silence about this. Just a little bit Russian complaints that problem with visa for all delegation, you know? Because I'm sure that health delegation of Russia coming here just to go and buy here something in the shops, you know, some Cartier, iPhones or Apple stores, just for this. They don't feel them guilty. They don't feel them that they have to apologize. No, they're proud. And unfortunately, 86% of Russian support Putin support this war, and expecting that we can find some common language, we can find some decision to separate from them or to stop them without power, without our armies. For me, it's unreal. And unfortunately, for this fantasy about common language, about peace decision, this is fantasies. This is expectation killing more people than Russian weapons. You know, in Ukraine, when war started, how many people dying? Just only they still believe that if they are not if they are not soldiers, nobody touched them. Here sitting people from Estonia. I met here people from other Ukrainian cities, which were attacked first 24 hours. And people really believe. But unfortunately, Russian army is some criminal community. Actually, it's criminal community which doing some crimes. 64 Russian regiment who was made guilty of Bucha, where they killing 1,000 people. Putin give them a medal. It's a proud to be part of Russian army. This regiment. Story. I never heard that during the Second World War, some regiment in Wehrmacht who did the same things, and they did same things, worse things, was said by Hitler that you are proud of Germany. But for Russian, yes, it's proud. It's honor to have this regiment. And after 20 years war in Chechnya, just only 2 Russian officers was put in prison as a war crime, but 1,000 and 100,000 war crimes in Chechnya. Nothing happened. For example, I'm sure that nobody knows that Russia in 1992 made huge massacre against my nation, because during the Second World War, when more than 10,000 Ingushetia fighting with Nazi, Stalin decided that all my nation deport to Siberia, to Gulag. And when I was a kid, once I saw passport of my father, and I find that my father not born in Caucasus, and my mother also not born in Caucasus. They born in Siberia, and I asked them how it's possible we are living in Caucasus, how you born? And they said, keep silence. Don't worry, it's not your business. It was Soviet time. And after, when we came back from Gulag to Caucasus, all nation, we find that in our houses, living Russian, living Ossetians. Ossetians is the mother nation of Iosif Stalin, which called Ingushetia. He gave this land as a gift, our lands, our houses, everything. And Russian told us, you have to accept it, it's your reality. And can you imagine, when my grandmother came, she lost husband, she lost a lot of relatives in Gulag. She came back, she watching on her house, she tried to go inside, and they said, no, you cannot. She said, I built with these hands, I built with my husband, this house is my house. No, it's not your anymore. Why? Because your nationality is Ingushetia. Nothing more. But people slowly buying for fantastic prices these houses, these lands coming back since 1957 till 1992. And most democratic president of Russia, Yeltsin, decided to provoke Chechnya, protect Ingushetia because we are brother nations, and started war against Ingushetia, expecting that Dudayev coming to help us and it will be make him guilty for starting war. Dudayev not coming because Dudayev understand for what they are doing this, but they're killing people. They killing not only people, they're killing kids, you know, and did so many war crimes, and everything it's under secret, you know, in Russia. You cannot talk about this. Problem of the Russia, because for example, in the United States, you can discuss everything. Slavery, problem with Indians, problem with Iraq, Afghanistan, discuss everything, yeah? It's open source. But in Russian, if you open your mouth, you immediately will go to prison. Only because one Russian girl in the school, can you imagine what's the state Russia now? Girl printed Ukrainian flag at the school. And her father in prison for 3 years, and she's in orphan house. Actually, more Russians were shocked when they did. But did you hear something that in Russia immediately going 1, 2, 3, 4 million people on the street say what's going on? No one. No one. Several weeks ago, I read statistic how many anti-war demonstration or some activity was in Nazi Germany. It was more than 10,000 court decisions against those people who were against war. In Russia, this is number less than 20. Less than 20. cases, people against war. And today, who call themselves Russian opposition, they hate Putin. It's true. They truly hate him, but not they hate him that he started with war. They hate him because he losing this war. Because when he win war with Georgia, all this Russian opposition was so happy, they writing in Facebook, in Live Journal, in Twitter, congratulations now guys. Several hours and Tbilisi will be under control. We have to destroy headquarters of Ukrainian army. It's a Russian opposition, leader of Russian opposition, Navalny. And he collected million likes. And now those Russian opposition sitting and crying in front of Ukrainians, we are so sorry, we are so sorry. Yes, they are, because Putin cannot occupy Kyiv for 3 days, Ukraine for 1 week or 2 months, how they expect it. And Ukrainian army fighting. You cannot imagine how fighting Ukrainian army, how they have weapons from all the world. But you know how it's complicated to fight when you have different weapons from different countries to care about all these logistic things. But Ukrainian doing the best one. And I think not existing so brave army, so professional officer, so professional general as Ukrainian. Example, Kharkov Oblast. Russian occupied part of Kharkov Oblast for 6 months. Ukrainian collect weapon, preparing army, and liberated for 4 days. Russian generals, all this army fighting for 6 months, Ukrainian liberated for 4 days. And I'm full respect for Ukrainian army. I'm full respect for Ukrainian people. And I have to say thank you very much for each non-Ukrainian person who support them, who support Ukrainian nation, who support Ukrainian refugees, because those refugees, most of them, they try to help his own country. And thanks God that these people exist, as Ukrainian exist, because people really want to feel in Ukraine, people really want to feel solidarity. People really want to feel that they are not alone, because Russia is still a strong country with strong army. And war will not finish tomorrow or day after tomorrow, maybe in this year, maybe next year. And sorry, sometimes I was very upset when I heard, oh, we tired. How you tired in New York? How you tired in Berlin? How you tired in Prague or in Warsaw? Why you tired? You are under Russian rocket attack or missile attack. You are under Russian artillery. You are tired. Russia not tired. Did you hear anyone that Russia said, we are tired of this war? I'm not. I'm really not. From my side, that's all. Just thank you very much for all of you for supporting this great